One of the reasons, of course, that we've added the specialised masters to the CentreCourt Festival is the tremendous growth and demand for masters in management and other pre-experienced masters. And of course, one of the world's top business schools has just got into this game. INSEAD, known as the business school for the world, has launched its first pre-experience masters in management. So it's a pioneer class that arrived in Fontainebleau just a few weeks ago to spend the next 12 months, 6 months in Fontainebleau, and then the second part of the program on the Southeast Asia campus in Singapore. And so I'm delighted to be joined by one of those pioneers, Francesca Fitzgerald. Francesca, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
You will always be, the first MIM students. Now, of course, you did undergrad at Oxford. You studied modern languages with Portuguese and Spanish, which seems to fit into the sort of global mindset that INSEAD loves. Are many of your fellow classmates as linguistically fluent as you are?
Definitely. Not so many have actually studied languages, but everyone speaks at least 2, if not 3 languages, which was incredible coming in. I think particularly coming from the UK, that's quite a unique thing to study. But at INSEAD, it's definitely not. And it's been really great to see the incredible diversity actually in practice and not just kind of what you see on the website. It really is true.
Now, INSEAD has sat at the top of business school rankings for the MBA program, their exec MBA programs. The MIM is new, and so, a big step for all of you. What was it about INSEAD that really drew you to doing their Masters in Management?
I think, if I maybe talk about why a Master's in Management was useful for me and then why INSEAD specifically, I think, as I say, coming from a languages background and specialising so closely in the UK for 4 years, I kind of realised going through the job application process that maybe there were a few kind of business skills that I was lacking and really wanted to develop. And so I started looking into Masters in Management. And INSEAD really stood out to me, firstly, because it's a really unique programme amongst all of the other ones in Europe. So it's 1 year, you go to 2 campuses, as well as Abu Dhabi and San Francisco as well, for a week. Fingers crossed we can still go. So it's super fast paced, and there's professional exposure at the end of it. So it was the perfect program. And then added to that, just the opportunity to meet 100 new people from all over the world in France, in Singapore, was just a really exciting opportunity, and I think something that really makes INSEAD stand out.
Right. We were just saying earlier that, of course, you've brought the average age down on the campus. You're all on the campus. They've managed to accommodate and sort of socially distanced learning. Already a sense of this incredible community that mixes you presumably with the MBAs and everybody else that's on the Fontainebleau campus.
Yeah, definitely. I think at least for the MIM class, we kind of felt that before we even arrived with the pre-course work that we had to do. Everyone was immediately helping each other with coding, which personally I have never done before, but everyone was really willing to help with any questions, which was really great. And that's definitely continued as we've got onto campus and as new MBAs have started to arrive. I think the 20Js arrived last week. Everyone has been getting along and getting to know each other. Everyone's really willing to help each other out. And that's been really great, especially for MIMs with very little experience, to get to access kind of the knowledge and expertise of MBAs with 5 or 6 or more years of experience. Is really, really exciting. And yeah, it'll be great to get to know them more as we go forward.
Got it. Now, the fact that the program is pre-experienced compared to the MBA students that are often in their late 20s or beyond, of course, you had this passion for lacrosse all the way through university. You were actually a consulting representative, I think, at Oxford. You've done internships in skincare, law firm. You've done tutoring. You were even, and I love this, certainly for an event called CentreCourt, you were, the dressing room attendant for Wimbledon. With all of that sort of diverse experience, doing the MIM, is it that you know what you want to do next in your career, or is that the whole thing? It's about exploring those different options.
I think that's a very good question. Yeah, dressing room at Wimbledon was definitely a highlight. I think I'm very keen on consulting. I think obviously INSEAD has a really good reputation for students going into consulting, and having experienced a consultancy in Madrid previously, I know that I like that kind of environment, but I'm definitely here at INSEAD with a very open mind. There's a lot of people that have come from internships or work experience in very different industries, and I've already been exposed to a whole bunch of different industries, companies and sectors that I have really never been exposed to before. And so now I'm definitely rethinking what I think I want to do, and I think that's the best part of it, that it really helps you start to decide where your strengths lie, and therefore where your values are and what you might want to go into, and how those two things align. So we'll definitely have to wait and see, but yeah, I think that's only a good thing.
Okay. Now, I put together these events with with poets and quants, and perhaps the very idea of that title, the poets and the quants. Are you considered one of the poets in the classroom, and how do you then navigate, presumably, a core curriculum that's got plenty of data analytics? You know, there are accounting courses, discounted cash flow to manage.
Definitely. I mean, our two of the three courses we have at the moment are data analysis and financial accounting. So you hit the nail on the head there. I think, yeah, definitely considered a poet, but I mean, you're kind of thrown at the deep end from day one, and you learn so quickly. My math skills from 4 or 5 years ago have come back a lot quicker than I thought they would. But I think the courses are designed for people with experience and for people without experience in these industries, because the professors know that everyone's coming from a whole different background, and that's been really helpful. It means that there's extra tutorials and extra classes if people feel like they need it, but also there's so much group work that you learn. I've learned so much so quickly from my group mates that have come from finance backgrounds and engineering backgrounds and liberal arts backgrounds, literally everything. And so that's meant that we all work together to try and reach the goal of understanding all the material and getting to grips with everything as quickly as we can. And I think working together has really helped kind of blend the poets and the quants, I guess, in the class. Yeah.
Well, perhaps if McKinsey, Bain or BCG are hired by Wimbledon to sort of relaunch in a post-COVID world, would be a good opportunity. As you look at sort of those next career steps, where would you like to see yourself coming out of the program?
I think that's a good question. I think I would like to go into consultancy. I think ultimately in the next few years, I want to get a really kind of broad training as a generalist. And I think that one of the big consultancies, whether it's MBB or otherwise, is the best way to do that, to get exposure to a whole bunch of different industries and to use the skills in a whole variety of courses that I'm going to learn at INSEAD and that I learned at Oxford as well. I think kind of longer term, I ultimately really want to become kind of a mentor for other kind of young professionals that are in my position now, and a bit don't know where they want to go, don't know what industry would suit them, and just try and help them navigate the kind of work experience world, the real world, I guess, and yeah, find what they want to do, whether that's in consulting or otherwise.
Well, let's put you into that mentoring role. My final question, you're already with those 100 students, but many, many hundreds of others that applied for the first Masters in Management year at INSEAD. Your advice to future applicants, putting together their story, reflecting on whether it's internships, things that they've done at undergrad. What would your advice to them be?
I think generally I'm sure a lot of people say it, but really be yourself. I know that when I was applying, I was a bit worried that maybe from a languages background, it wouldn't necessarily fit so well with the management structure. And there may be a lot of people coming from finance and business and economics and all of these quantitative degrees. But actually that really doesn't matter. I think if you have a passion for learning and a passion to go into business and to want to learn all these skills, that really will shine through no matter what degree you've done in the past. And in terms of the kind of internship professional experience background that you've had, whether that's been 1 month or 2 years, I think it's a lot more like really think about what skills you've learned from those experiences and how those skills can help you going forward, both in the Master of Management program, but also beyond in general life and in the world of work, because I think that's a lot more important than whether you've had 3 years experience at one of the world's top firms, but haven't actually reflected on what you've got out of that, and as a result, how studying at INSEAD can really benefit you.
Right. So that sort of authenticity and spontaneity. I think you also touched on a very important point. You know, if everybody had studied finance and economics, those classroom discussions wouldn't be nearly as rich. You know, that there is a place for everyone, and Virginie and Mike and the rest of the admissions team are really good at spotting talent. So congratulations on securing your own place. I hope that the next year is as fulfilling as those dreams that you have for the year ahead. You make it to Singapore, Abu Dhabi and San Francisco. And thanks for taking the time to join us at CentreCourt. Thanks, Francesca.
Thank you very much for having me.